and password is F G V percent. Just a moment.
Yes.
Percent. Where's the percent? Percent. 0608. 0608. Continue. Uh,
Alô? Bom dia a todos. Em nome da Escola Brasileira de Administração Pública e de Empresas, EBAPE, e o Instituto Militar de Engenharia, IME, saudamos a todos aqui presentes, bem-vindos. Para iniciarmos o evento, convidamos para compor a mesa o professor Carlos Ivan Simonsen, presidente da Fundação Getúlio Vargas, Coronel Edson Conde Pérez dos Santos, chefe de seção de ensino básico do IME, professor Flávio Vasconcelos, diretor da EBAPE, professor Antônio Porto, diretor de novos negócios da Fundação Getúlio Vargas, e professor Henrique Heitzmann, chefe do Centro de Graduação da EBAPE. E o professor Tomoyoshi Noda, fundador do Institute for Strategic Leadership e professor da Shizenkan University. Saudamos de forma especial os professores da disciplina Carla Soares, Laila Mendes, Major Aderson, Major Ottoni, Capitão Ferrari e Capitã Luísa Alencar. Também gostaria de agradecer a presença de todos, alunos, professores, monitores e convidados. O evento está dentro de um conjunto de atividades que estão sendo realizadas no âmbito do convênio entre a FGV e o Instituto Militar de Engenharia, o IME, e o presente projeto foi concebido pela Diretoria de Estudos de Novos Negócios e executado pela EBAPE. O objetivo é criar um espaço de aprendizagem em conceitos e metodologias modernas de desenvolvimento de novos negócios e projetos em ambas as instituições. A iniciativa é pioneira pela criação de uma turma conjunta que busca explorar a complementaridade existente entre os cursos de engenharia do IME e o curso de administração da EBAPE. Outro fator de pioneirismo é a utilização de metodologias ativas de aprendizagem que se inicia com sessões de PBL, sigla inglesa para aprendizagem baseada em problemas, organizado em turmas pequenas de cerca de 15 alunos. A metodologia exige muito trabalho independente, capacidade de atuação em grupos e competência na geração de soluções criativas. Cada uma dessas turmas é mediada por 2 professores. Ao final do semestre, os estudantes apresentam um projeto de uma solução de um problema ou necessidade real do mercado ou na sociedade. Para fazer a abertura oficial do evento, convidamos o professor Carlos Ivan Simonsen, presidente da Fundação Getúlio Vargas.
Bom dia a todos. É um prazer estar aqui hoje, nesse evento, e eu vou ser breve. Uma das principais dificuldades desse país é que nós temos um baixíssimo nível de inovação. Inovação, nos tempos recentes, tem sido um chavão bastante repetido. Precisamos ter inovação, precisamos ter inovação, precisamos ter inovação. No entanto, pouca gente sabe definir o que é inovação e menos ainda são aqueles que sabem construir um caminho para a inovação. O empreendedorismo depende de inovação. Nós estamos hoje aqui para escutar uma palestra de um grande especialista, um homem de especial inteligência, professor Noda, sobre temas de empreendedorismo, inovação, desenvolvimento estratégico. E é muito importante que nós tenhamos a noção de que não é apenas com chavões que nós vamos conseguir sair fora da caixa que hoje nos contém. No Brasil, nós sequer entendemos que, quando reclamamos que a verba gasta pelo país em P&D é pequena, nós sequer entendemos as razões disso. Tendemos a colocar a culpa toda nos governos. Isso não é verdade. No Brasil, o governo investe em percentagem do PIB quase tanto quanto investe o Japão, ou os Estados Unidos, ou outros países desenvolvidos. O setor privado é quem não investe. E a parte do setor privado que investe é exatamente a parte das multinacionais que tem o seu redesconto, o seu crédito lá fora. O país não investe em inovação porque tem baixa alavancagem. Ora, para aumentar essa alavancagem, você precisa gerar folga. Para gerar folga, você precisa de inovação. E nós ficamos na situação de quem vem primeiro, a galinha ou o ovo. Se nós não pensarmos fora da caixa, se não tivermos mais estratégia, e estratégia para ser implementada depende de ordem, nós não vamos conseguir sair dessa caixa. Então, a Fundação Getúlio Vargas foi ao Japão buscar o que há de melhor nesse tipo de pensamento, e hoje vocês vão assistir aqui uma palestra do professor Noda, um homem brilhante, e essa palestra será feita em inglês, que eu espero que provoque questões. Ao final, vocês poderão responder, formular perguntas. Muito obrigado.
Convidamos agora o coronel Edson Conde Pérez dos Santos, chefe da seção de ensino básico do IME, para fazer um breve discurso.
Bem, bom dia a todos. É um grande prazer estar aqui reunido nessa casa de excelência, tá? Iniciando um trabalho que o Instituto acredita ser de extrema importância para o país. Então, primeiramente, professor, eu gostaria de agradecer a receptividade que nós tivemos aqui e, em nome do comandante do Instituto, o general Luiz Henrique, tá, deixar o Instituto de portas abertas para a Fundação. Ressaltar a vocês, alunos, a importância que vocês estão tendo com o trabalho que está se iniciando hoje. Esse trabalho é um trabalho que já vem sendo feito, capitaneado pelo Major Aderson e pela sua equipe, e que acho que representa muito mais que resultados para o Exército, como a gente sabe que muitos de vocês vão estar também com a sociedade civil, resultados para o país. Então, eu espero que vocês possam aproveitar esse trabalho e reconhecer que esse esforço está sendo feito nessa iniciativa de trazer a vocês uma necessidade, uma demanda que o país está traduzindo aqui agora. Tá? Obrigado a todos.
Também convidamos o professor Flávio Vasconcelos, diretor da EBAPE, para fazer um breve discurso.
Carlos, eu vou ser bastante breve também. Esse momento é um momento que culmina uma série de desenvolvimentos que nós tivemos aqui na EBAPE. Eu acredito que a disciplina de empreendedorismo, na verdade, é uma das disciplinas mais importantes no curso de administração. E não apenas porque empreendedorismo não é apenas a criação de novos negócios, mas é essencialmente também inovação e a capacidade de tomar iniciativas. Então, muitas vezes, eu acho que o ensino do empreendedorismo ele é fundamental na capacidade dessa dimensão ativa da gestão, porque a gestão não deve ser simplesmente uma reação aos problemas que acontecem, mas também criar novas oportunidades, criar coisas, criar novas dimensões, novos produtos, novos mercados. Então, exatamente essa a nossa, digamos assim, o nosso compromisso na escola, trazendo o empreendedorismo para uma posição mais central e também fazendo com que isso aconteça não simplesmente dentro da escola, mas numa rede. E eu acho que essa colaboração privilegiada que nós temos com o IME é exatamente talvez um dos pontos de início dessa nova estratégia. Então, estou muito contente aqui pela nossa iniciativa e pela oportunidade que nós temos também de um desenvolvimento internacional, de trazer o professor Tomo Noda, que é, sem dúvida, uma das pessoas mais brilhantes que eu tenho encontrado nos últimos tempos, e realmente vale a pena a gente ouvir. Muito obrigado.
E, por fim, convidamos o professor Edson Kenji Kondo, vice-diretor da Escola de Políticas Públicas e Governo e coordenador do empreendedorismo da FGV EBAPE, para proferir seu discurso de boas-vindas.
Bem, bom dia. Primeiramente, eu gostaria de agradecer a presença do nosso presidente, professor Carlos Ivan, do representante do comandante, coronel Edson, professor Flávio, professor Henrique, professor Porto, e a todos os colegas que já estamos no 4º ano, né, professores do IME. Esse ano estamos com 7 voluntários, Major Aderson? Do IME, nós temos 6 professores que voluntariamente se dedicam a essa disciplina, e ela tem crescido ano a ano. Ela tem não só crescido, mas realmente significado um belo casamento entre as duas instituições. Casamento em todos os sentidos. Nós temos uma aluna da FGV, uma das melhores, se não a melhor, casada com um aluno, e eles se encontraram na nossa primeira turma. Então, depois temos outros casamentos que resultaram em retornos financeiros, né? Empresas, startups que foram abertas, startups que no ano passado aparentemente foi vendido por uns 4 milhões, e também nós temos esse ano novamente trabalhando pessoal do ano passado, que foram para o concurso de unicórnio organizado pela IBM lá em São Paulo, tiraram o 3º lugar e estão produzindo uma nova empresa na área de saúde e que está caminhando muito bem. Então, temos 2 alunas da FGV e um aluno de mestrado, né, do IME, trabalhando juntos. Então, esse ano, que é uma nova fase, maior ainda, né? Graças aos esforços do Major Aderson, estamos com mais de 100 alunos nessa turma mista FGV-EBAPE e FGV-IME, né? E gostaríamos agora de realmente alcançar um novo patamar. Então, estamos muito esperançosos de ter uma grande disciplina esse ano. I will talk just briefly in English because our guest may not be understanding what we are talking about, but I want to just say that, this is the 4th year of our joint initiative. We had it's like a wedding between 2 organizations. We had real wedding, a student from FGV married with a student from IME. Then we had many successful startups. Some have gotten returns above $1 million in just 6 months. And we have this opportunity. We have the opportunity to welcome Mr. Tomo Noda. He is very innovative. He is very influential person in Japan, in the business world, and in the university world. And he talks daily with the main presidents of the main companies in Japan. This weekend, he was just calling several of his friends, like Fujitsu, and he calls them, not because he's just friends. Most of the presidents, or many, many presidents of major Japanese companies, having been students of Mr. Noda. So he is really a person who creates new types of leaders. So today we have the privilege of having him, and he will tell us about his journey in challenging the status quo of how business education is done and the transformation he's bringing to Japan and the world. So thank you very much, Professor Noda. And well, thank you very much for all, and hope you enjoy his lecture. And this is the first class of our discipline. So hope you take something home, and then next week we'll be applying it into our class. So thank you very much.
Agora convidamos os professores da mesa a retomarem seus lugares na plateia. E para realizar a palestra My Entrepreneurial Journey of Transforming Business Education Paradigm in Japan, convidamos o professor Tomoyoshi Noda. O professor Tomoyoshi Noda está no Brasil a convite da presidência da FGV para compartilhar e debater suas ideias na formação de líderes empresariais e do terceiro setor do Japão. Tomoyoshi Noda possui vasta experiência na educação de executivos como professor e pesquisador na London Business School, em SEAD, e posteriormente como fundador do Instituto de Liderança Estratégica para Executivos. Conforme o professor Kondo mencionou, os atuais presidentes de dezenas de grandes empresas japonesas são seus ex-alunos e é considerado um dos principais pensadores na formação de altos executivos no Japão. Mais recentemente, fundou também a Shizenkan University, cujo foco é uma educação que interage competências analíticas do Ocidente com a visão e os valores holísticos e integradores do Oriente. Com a palavra, professor Tomoyoshi Noda.
Good morning. Forgive me my speaking in English, particularly Japanese English. So you should be a bit patient so that you can accustom to my speaking Japanese English for a while. So thank you very much for inviting me to Brazil and Rio de Janeiro. This is the second time I come to FGV. It was 8 years ago I came to next building with Edison Kondo and met with Flavio. And so it's a wonderful opportunity for me to come back to Rio de Janeiro, see new beautiful complex and buildings. And so I will do my best to share what I have been doing in Japan and what I want to do together with FGB and our friends in Brazil. So Edison Kondo asked me to talk about my own entrepreneurship journey because some of you are students of entrepreneurship. So let me begin with my story. Before that, let me briefly introduce who we are. Shizenkan means ultimate goodness school. Ultimate goodness school. That's Shizenkan, coming from Chinese philosophy. And unlike FGV, we are very small boutique business school, boutique and business and leadership school. And we are dedicated to develop next generation leaders with creativity, willpower, and most importantly, character. Character matters a lot. And we are so fortunate to be supported by over 300 prominent corporate executives and social leaders in Japan, Asia, and other parts of the world. We are particularly working closely with IESE Business School in Spain, and Indian Business School, and other business schools in Asia. We are renowned for its whole person management leadership education. I will explain what whole person means. And we tried to capitalize on the tradition of Western business school and tried to go beyond by combining the strengths of Western business school approach with liberal arts education and Asian tradition of self-reflection. The Edison kindly introduced to you. Our graduates, we are very small boutique business school, so we only have 1,600 alumni. But many of them now become the CEOs of large Japanese corporations, such as Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, Mitsui & Company, and the cosmetic company called Shiseido, for example. And we are not only active in executive education, business education, we are committed to foster social innovation, social entrepreneurship, because I believe that raison d'etre of education is making the future better. And that's the reason I am committed to education. Today's outline, I separate into 3 parts: introduction, concerns, my own concerns, and our own challenges, 3 sections. First, introduction part. This is my journey, entrepreneurial journey. I spent the first 15 years, from 25 years old to 40 years old, as a researcher, educator. So I was like many professors at FGV and other institutions. And I spent another 15 years, from 40 to 55, as entrepreneur, particularly probably social entrepreneur in the field of education. And I envision my coming 15 years as my role as change maker of global business and leadership education paradigm. That is who I am. So I went to MIT, MBA, and studied together with Edison Kondo at John F. Kennedy School of Government. I did my DBA, PhD from Harvard Business School in business policy. And I took the job, academic position, professorship at London Business School and INSEAD in Fontainebleau, France. Je parle un peu as a Français. And I moved to INSEAD Asia in Singapore. I also was a faculty member of Danish business school called CIMI. As I'm the expert on organizational strategy. I'm not an expert on leadership, but I'm now regarded as an expert on leadership. I taught MBAs and executive organizational strategy, including Blue Ocean strategy and many other concepts of management. I left academia at the age of 40 years old. The reason is I was a bit dissatisfied with status quo of business and leadership education at that time. And I created my own institutions from zero scratch. My initial capital cost is only $1,000 US. So, and we started with 3 staff members. Our first office is very small, doesn't have any window at that time, and my staff member always complained, we don't really know how late we are working. When they left the office, it is already midnight. So that is the challenge I did. And we, together with our supporters, we explore new approach, alternative to incumbent business and leadership education. So over the past 15 years, from 40 years old to 55 years old, I tried to revisit the concept of leadership and explored our own approach to leadership development. In order to engage in leadership development, we need to understand deeply what is leadership. So I briefly actually explain our own definition of leadership. I'm not sure how many of you know Joseph Campbell. He's a world-famous mythologist. And he defines leadership as a journey, adventure. So one boy or girl depart for an adventure by leading himself or herself, not leading others. Leadership is not leading others. Leadership is leading ourselves. And he or she encounter with challenges and unexpected difficulties. Usually in our old story, the boy encountered with a monster in the dark forest. And he or she tried to overcome great adversity while working with his supporters, his or her supporters, gaining support, empathy, and trust of others, and forming up a team, and together they overcome difficulties. Interesting part is he or she was not a leader at the beginning. When he or she departed for adventure, he or she is a bit strange, bizarre boy or girl, and many people say, why you are doing this? And it's so risky, it's so uncertain, and we don't really know whether he or she succeed. But nevertheless, he or she will embark on journey. And he or she is called a leader or a hero when they return from the journey. So that is our definition of leadership. It's quite different from conventional concept of leadership, and maybe actually closer to maybe more entrepreneurship in our definitions. Today, I cannot talk much about leadership, but I will mention three biggest leadership challenges. One is seeing the unseen. He or she who became a leader after a journey tried to see the unseen, which most of the people cannot see. Seeing the unseen is the first challenge. And the leader who lead himself or herself keep going on, keep moving forward while living with, embracing uncertainty and risks. And eventually, he or she transforms his own personal dreams, her personal dreams into everybody's dreams. That is a challenge of leadership in our mind. So first challenge, see the unseen, is like this. This is a picture 50 years ago from America, once upon a time in America. So left side is white people, and right side is colored people, black people. And in those days, majority of the people in America in the South thought this is a status quo of the society, and some of them felt that this is something wrong in this society. But majority of the people accepted the reality as it was. And certain group of people challenge the status quo and see that eventually I can see the better future, even though other people do not necessarily see. And 50 years after, this kind of phenomena, this kind of event happens. And everybody knows us, Martin Luther King's speech of I have a dream in 1963. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation. Everybody knows this speech. This is the most impressive speech human being left in videos. And we say the challenge of see the unseen is like this. 50 years ago, we live in society like this. White and black cannot go to the college together, university together. We cannot dine together in a restaurant. But somebody challenges the status quo, and somebody says, I can see the better future, which other people cannot see. And 50 years after, this kind of change happens. That is leadership challenge, leadership challenges. This guy is former Korean president, Lee Myung-bak. He's a bit notorious because he's in prison at this moment in South Korea. But he says, visioning is a strength to discover the 99% we cannot see from the 1% we can see. In business schools or leadership school or public schools, we call many times visions. However, we cannot see vision 100% clear at all. We can only see 1% of something which we can see. And we are challenged, we are asked to make a challenge to making the remaining 90% out of 1% we can see. That is my definition of envisioning. That is the biggest leadership challenges. So if you are in the journey of leadership, what is 1% of unseen you can see now? How you create 99% out of your 1%. Because we can only see 1% of the future with clarity. Future is filled with risks and uncertainties. We need to move forward while embracing risks and uncertainty. That's the second leadership challenges. And I usually said, motivation doesn't work so much here in this journey of leadership. Motivation is something given by third party. You are motivated to do something because you are asked to do, you are assigned to do, and if you accomplish, you'll be rewarded by third party. That is motivation. So some kind of driving force given from the outside of you. So I believe that in the journey, in case of management, administration, motivation works, carrot and sticks. Motivation works a lot. But in case of challenge of leadership, external motivation do not necessarily work. I believe it is almost impossible to tackle with a challenge filled with uncertainty and risks merely because we are assigned to do so. So in some company, particularly in Asian companies, we do silly practice. We call one of the staff members, we ask them to tackle with innovation, transformation, which is inevitably filled with the risks and uncertainty. And somebody who is assigned to do so will never be able to go through innovation and transformation. And that's a reality of our human beings. So what is necessary here is internal willpower, aspiration, passion, and belief. That is the only factor, driving force, which support our challenge in leadership journey. And in order to do that, we need to actually align our hearts and head and hearts. What we usually discuss, what is necessary in classroom. But in order to tackle with challenges, we need to support challenge with our hearts. So you are familiar with Steve Jobs' presentation. The challenge is looking ourselves into the mirror every morning and asking question, if today was the last day of my life, would I want to do what I'm about to do today? If the answer is no for many days, we need to change something. So leadership training is not necessarily gaining the knowledge and framework. It is more like confronting with myself, ourselves, and asking questions who I am, where I am from, and where I'm heading for, why we are tackling with this kind of challenges. One leadership expert in America called Warren Bennis, he's professor of University of South California, says, leader listens to his or her inner voice. Guided by inner voice, Mother Teresa left Catholic Church and embarked on the journey of missionary of charity. So listening to ourselves is most important challenge for leadership. Third challenge is, if we pursue our own dream, if it remains as my own personal dream only, it doesn't give us a status of leadership. Leadership is a challenge of transforming my own personal dream into everybody's dreams. That is leadership challenges. How should we do? How can we do? What kind of challenges are ahead of us? In order to make our dream transform into everybody's dreams, we need to aim high. We need to actually aspire in a bigger way. We need to tackle with something bigger than our own self-interest. If you are only thinking about your own interest, not taking care of others, it will never become the other people's dreams. So we need to act for the interest and the benefit of others. And this may be too Japanese or Asians, but we are told since our childhood that leader need to feel the joy of others as if they were our own joy. So this is what we are trained to do in Asia, particularly in Japan. The picture I show you next may be a bit risky to show, but this is sometimes I believe the essence of leadership. This is an unknown young man in front of tanks in Tiananmen Square in 1989. He is missing, obviously, he must be dead. I'm not asking you to stand in front of tanks at all, but I look like Chinese, but I'm not Chinese. I don't live in Tiananmen Square in 1989, but I believe that each of us living in different regions, different era, has our own tank. Even though we sometimes self-sacrifice, and beyond our personal interest, I may have some dream to realize going beyond our small selfish interest. So that is the third challenge. In order to make my dreams into everybody's dreams, we need to tackle bigger than ourselves. So 3 challenges of leadership: see the unseen, listen to our inner voice, and live our own life fully, and tackling with something bigger than our own selfish interest. And what we do in Japan at this moment for leadership development is, for the see the unseen, we deploy liberal arts education to expand perspectives and deep understanding of human history and the essence of human existence. Liberal arts education, the philosophy, history, biology, sometimes many sociology we use, is not the knowledge. It is a weapon for us to expand our perspective, understand deep the time and the space we are in, and envision the future by understanding the essence of human existence and the strengths and weakness of us living in the society. In order to help our participants listen to their inner voice, we heavily rely on self-reflection and coaching. So again, we don't do a boot camp for the helping participants gain knowledge only. We ask them to reflect on themselves and ask questions: where you are from, who you are, what is your value, what's your life purpose, what is your life vision. That is our leadership development approach. Third aspect, tackling with something bigger than our own selfish interest. Yes, we need self-interest, but we as a part of society, and we cannot live alone. We are living with other people in the society and the community, and we can lead ourselves because we are supported by many others. So by acknowledging the fact that we don't live ourselves, we live together with people, that is the starting point of go beyond our own self-interest. So that's we do as part of our whole person leadership development approach. So coming back to today's outline, concerns. So what I am concerned about. So I envision my next 15 years as a change maker of global business and leadership education paradigms. We used to be a not-for-profit organization, but no official educational institution in Japan. But we obtained government approval for university status year 2017. That means only 2 years ago. And we started our own MBA program with 160 participants coming from 30 countries. And we are trying to renew a global leadership paradigm of leadership education. So what is my concern? What is our challenges? Here is the book you know, Innovator's Dilemma. It was written by my friend back in Harvard Business School, Clayton Christensen. This is a book probably which made the biggest impact in the field of management over 3 decades. We discuss a lot about innovators' dilemma in business school classroom or leadership schools. However, ironically, I suspect it may be educational institution ourselves which may be suffering from this innovator's dilemma. That is my concern. Let me explain why. I'm the product of American Business School. I went to MIT, Harvard, and I taught in London Business School and INSEAD or other parts of the world. I also taught in Italy. I also taught in Beijing. But I'm afraid a little bit. American Business School is such a wonderful product. I don't deny the significance, value of American Business School. However, it can be a representative of 20th century capitalisms. We live in 21st century, but American Business School approach may be an epitome of 20th century capitalisms. Let me explain why. 20th century, we have several assumptions. Oh, it doesn't go. Today, tomorrow is better than today, always. Sorry, I have a problem of, yes, oh, sorry. One more. Yeah. So 20th century, oh, sorry. time lag. Oh. Sorry, I calm down one by. It will come. So this is it. So the 20th century, our assumption is tomorrow is better than today always. So ever increasing growth, mass production and mass consumption. In order to manage this capitalism, we develop hierarchy, organization, and management. So we develop hierarchy with centralized management and layers. We tried to make this mass production, mass consumption happens. Here, within the organization, we have division of labor, organization silos, and each functional manager and expert manage their organization with the power of command and control. We, business schools, discuss value creation a lot in the classroom, but value is typically shareholder value, American standard. I usually says that MBA is must have been American in a sense, Even though we call value creation is implicitly assumed to be a shareholder value. These assumptions in the 20th century have changed dramatically when we entered into 21st century. That's a changing in assumptions. Huge explosion of populations, and African economy is finally taking off. This is a picture in terms of population in the year 2100. So Africa and Asia will be huge. So we have a huge concern for sustainability. Everybody knows SDGs. Mass production, mass consumption has been changing a lot. 3D printer, makers revolution, and our consumer needs became more versatile. So rather than mass production, mass consumption, we are shifting into customized small quantity production and consumptions. Hierarchy is replaced by lateral network of individuals. So we work no longer based on carrots and sticks, command and control. We basically engage in collaboration based on empathy and trust. So hierarchy is replaced by network, lateral network of individuals. Large corporation, large organization are no longer the center for value creation. And 0 to 1 entrepreneurship is fundamental driver for value creation. And in order to be an entrepreneur, you don't need to be a functional specialist. You cannot be a functional specialist. More holistic perspective is necessary. Finally, American standard, Western standard has been challenged. Pendulum of economy is swinging back one more time to Asia. India and China is becoming the center of world economy. I believe you know that 1,000 years ago, 2/3 of global GDP at that time was produced by India and China. That's 1,000 years ago. After 1,000 years of interval, finally economy and world is shifting back to Asia. That's what we are experiencing at this moment. So that is the change we are witnessing in the 21st century. And unfortunately, it may be time for us to go beyond the old paradigm of business and leadership education, which can be capitalized, which can be embodied by American business school kind of approach. So what we are trying to do as a future challenge is called from B to D, D to I, to Z. That's a challenge we are envisioning. B means business school. This is my school, Harvard Business School. Business school education is essential, and we cannot ignore business school education. But business school education is the starting point of our new approach. Business school is good at fostering ability to analyze and verify. We have quantitative skills, logical thinking, of the faculty of strategy, so the replicability, the non-imitability, actually sustainability, competitive advantage, leverage, all kinds of questions we can ask by taking advantage of a strategic framework. But business school is not really good at helping entrepreneurs per se, because these skills are ability to analyze and verify hypotheses. But leadership and entrepreneurship challenges come up with hypotheses from zero scratch. That's the challenges. Now, American Business School has been challenged by design school in America. You know, many design thinking, system thinking. Yes, it is important to combine business school education with design thinking. So ethnography, this is a picture of Stanford D School. And we need to help you and our participants come up with ethnography, prototyping, storytelling. This will help leader equipped with ability to frame and envision. But sometimes design thinking can be incremental kaizen, incremental improvement. And we need to engage in much more discontinuous the thinking, out-of-box thinking. One of my faculty members is representative of Singularity University in Japan. And he's American, and I talk a lot with him. And I sometimes view Singularity University by Ray Kurzweil is a bit crazy in their approach. However, I admire their aspiration, so-called moonshot approach. Disrupting bias, thinking about social impact, focusing on AI digital literacy. So today, in Shizenkan, we tried to combine three approaches together, developing a more hybrid approach of business school, design school, and innovation schools, and try to integrate them from the business policy perspectives. We believe that would be a professional skills required of a leader to deal effectively with transformation and innovation. But we need to go beyond. These are skill training, extremely important. However, the leaders are judged based on their human caliber and character. And also, leader of the business, leader of the organization is not only the professional of that business, of that organization, but he is a citizen of the society, and he is the leader of the world. So we tried to go beyond professional skill training. At the end of the day, character, integrity, and character is most important. So we tried to cultivate sense of values, harnessing sense of citizenship, tried to challenge our participants so that they can come up with more virtue and integrity. So we believe that 21st century is a challenge for preserving humanisms. ICT, blockchain, AI, and 5Gs all coming together, but eventually we may end up living in the society depicted in the movie called Matrix. We may be a part of a big system. Human being may be a part of a big system of ICT and network. That is the biggest concern we have as an educator. So how we can come back to the humanity, humanism is most important part. So we envision that business school need to make an evolution, transformation from business school to Z school. Z is the end of alphabet. But in Japanese and in Chinese, Z means something else. Z means fall, Zen, fall. And we as a part of society, so sociality and humanity is most important character required of a leader, future leader. Z also means Zen, mindfulness. We reflect on ourselves, we reassess our relationship with others and the community, harmony, coexistence with the nature are the important part of our challenges. Finally, Z means Zen, goodness. So ethics, value, purpose of organization are most important part of our challenges. I end with two slides. As an educator who are taught by many teachers in my schools, who are supported by many people, not only in Japan but the world, I envision my own journey as like this. This is the quote by Isaac Newton, standing on the shoulder of giants. We are actually capitalizing on the challenges by predecessors. The many predecessors in education and entrepreneurship and leader are helping us. Our challenge is how far we can envision, how distant we can envision, how high we can aim, so that in the 21st century, what can be a role of us as an educator to foster the new generation of leaders with humanity. That is my leadership journey continues. Thank you so much for listening to me. I'm not really sure whether you understand my Japanese English. By this time, you now understand my Japanese English because you have that 40 minutes training of Japanese English. Thank you very much for patiently listening to me. Thank you.
Hi, Professor. Thanks for this lecture. I want to ask about
Can
the.
you just tell your name and where
sorry.
are you from?
I'm from Manaus, Amazonas, and my name is Claudio Miro. I study here in the EBAPE. So I want to ask about the holistic and spiritual part of your methodology, of the Shinzen-kan methodology, because it's something personal, because I believe that the business world is a very rational word, and this part of the spiritual, it's more personal. How you can put this spiritual mindset or this spiritual view in the business world?
Yes, it is a spiritual discovery and endeavor, but not for the sake of enhancing spirituality. In order to deal effectively with challenge of transformation and innovation, you need to know better who you are. Otherwise, when you meet with great adversity, you run away from difficulties. So it is not a spiritual training. It is actually part of your expanding, deepening your human caliber. That's we call self-reflection. That is a role of self-reflection. If you know that it is not only me who is doing this, over the past 3 decades, if you look at the Financial Times ranking of leadership education, first one may be actually Harvard, second may be Stanford, but fourth or fifth is called CCL, Center for Creative Leadership. Center for Creative Leadership, particularly McKinsey and Boston Consulting Group partner, when they become partners, they go to CCL workshop. And CCL, their program is called Looking Mirror. You look yourself into the mirror, ask who you are, and what's the purpose of your life, and what is value you most emphasize. So I believe that I'm not really sure whether I'm answering your question. It is personal, it is spiritual part, but it's an inevitable part of leadership training. If you go to Harvard Business School today, most popular course among the MBAs is True North. Bill George, True North. I'm not sure whether you know his work, True North. So each of us may have True North in the sky. And without identifying True North, we cannot lead ourselves. And when you come up with many challenges, you sometimes actually deviate, and you cannot make a consistent decision and judgment if you don't have the actually guiding the principles for yourself. And unfortunately, this guiding principle cannot be taught by others. You need to develop by yourself. So that is my understanding of these challenges. Is this okay to you?
Alguma pergunta? Professores também? Professor Carlos Silva.
actually have two questions,
All right,
but
Carlos.
they interconnect because I face this problem. First of all, in today's world, it is absolutely necessary to do something which is very difficult. Draw a limit where being rational is not rational anymore.
All right.
Okay. So this is
It's
the first thing is whatever you consider to be rational,
all right.
once in a while you come to a point where you have to disconsider it in order to be a real entrepreneur.
All right. Okay.
You showed an example, and this is my first question. So, how do I draw that limit? The second question, which is actually the cause of the first, is that business schools, you showed their evolution, the evolution of a model of the business schools,
Right.
from the classical American model to something more modern, translating that thing into a more operational language. What one has is that when you leave mass production, models become so complex in terms of OPEX and CAPEX
I fully understand.
that your risk is really there. So you have to choose paths, have to make bets. And there is exactly the point where irrationality comes in.
Right.
And you
Okay.
need irrationality in the sense that you are dealing with probability distributions that you don't have a clue about the probabilities of the events, and sometimes you don't even have a clue about the possible events. So they are incomplete. The best you can have is incomplete rationality. So the point is, how do you deal with that? And how do you, most important, what is the experience that you observe people dealing with that?
All right.
Actual entrepreneurs.
Carlos, I'm not really sure as I understand you as a question with 100%. But coming back to the second question you said, this one is more boutique educational institution approach. Cannot do mass production. Two answers. One is division of labor. There's many institutions I admire that playing a key role, important role in mass production of managers or leaders. And that's I don't deny at all, but I see as a role for more the unique approach for developing role models for the society. As yesterday I talked with you, and it's complementary to each other. We need mass production educational approach, the increasing the standard of the quality of managers and leaders. That is essential. But today, because we are facing the critical juncture of human history, what is essential is leader challenging the status quo and coming up with unknown future. That's leadership cannot be taught in a mass production way, unfortunately, I believe. So it is complementary to each other. I don't suggest FGB, for example, transform themselves into leadership education in the entire way, in the whole way at all. But some of the project, some of the initiative should be taken for going beyond, particularly for those people who know the basics of business, who knows the basics of public policy. That is one question, one answer. Second way of responding to you, the second question is, with the advancement of AI, artificial intelligence, I believe that majority of problem-solving job of administrator will be complemented will be also replaced by this decision making by AI kind of decision making. Human resource management, I talked with many HRM as a human resource managers or CHRO. Eventually, 20 years after, maybe within 10 years, maybe not 20 years, there's only one single CHRO who make a value judgment. And majority of the people are not necessary because it is more automatically made by machine learning. So I see the role of human beings will be do something machines cannot do. Machines are good at problem solving, and we are good at problem finding and identification, which requires value judgment, value evaluation. So we are more coming back to the era of humane leadership, rather than actually equipped with accounting, finance, marketing, and organization theory, and making decisions. That is my answer to your second question. First question, rational and irrationality. You are true. I'm Asian, and I am not actually, the Chinese and Japanese are quite different, but we share a lot called yin and yang. Yin and yang means that our society, our reality comes with duality. So rationality and irrationality is together. We focus too much on rationality, we lose our sight. We focus too much on irrationality, we also lose sight. So how we can actually live together with rationality and irrationality is a challenge, particularly for next generation leaders. So same as creativity and logical thinking, logics, ethos, pathos, logos, that is the challenge we have. But in the 20th century, we too much focus on logos, I believe. And now it is time for us to come back to more ethos and pathos. And in reality, how should we do? Actually, we are trying to develop, but again, at the end of the day, we need to know who I am. What do we want to do? Simple question we ask children to think who you are, what do you want to do, how to live with your people, what kind of the future do you want to create. That's a simple question. In order to realize such future, we need a lot of training for rigorous training of professional skill training. We need to calculate numbers, we need to know the numbers, we need to know the discipline of organizational behavior, and we need to know the value proposition, target, and value delivery, which is envisioned by marketing and strategies. We don't deny, but these are the means, never be the end of our endeavor. End is asking the question like who you are, what do you want to do? I'm not really sure whether I'm answering to you or not. Is this okay?
Well, thank you very much. I think we are, our time's up, so thank you very much. I would like to thank you so much, Noda-san, and thank the presence of President Carlos Giovan, our director, Flavio, the representative commander, Edson, Colonel Edson, and Professor Porto, Professor Henrique, and all colleagues from EME also. And let's take a picture together. If you can stand in the middle, and I ask everyone to please come down. Vocês poderiam vir um pouco mais para frente para nós tirarmos uma foto junto com o professor Noda. Aí vocês vão poder. Então, se puderem ficar em pé, e vocês venham mais para baixo, por favor, venham mais para frente. Aí o pessoal consegue tirar uma foto. Já Noda-san.
Alô? Hã? Você fala?
Prezados, bom dia. Gostaria de informar que o evento está encerrado e peço aos alunos da disciplina, tanto do IME quanto da EBAPE, vocês terão 15 minutos de intervalo e depois retornem para cá para nós explicarmos o plano de ensino e todo o desafio que vocês terão ao longo dessa disciplina, ok? Muito obrigada.